Today's hot topic on Morning Kick Around, we're going to focus on Florida. The Sunshine State is blowing up as far as interest and just expansion of American soccer. And the main credo of the show is dot the map, and Florida is doing its part to do so. We got a lot of active teams already, lots of expansion news. California holds the title, I believe, for the most pro clubs in a state, but Florida, coming up the rear to challenge them for that title. Lots of teams.
I'm gonna treat you like my 4-year-old Tiago, and I'm gonna ask you to count them, Rob. Can you count? And let's do California first to compare it to Florida, because we know there's also a couple of oars in the water and potential possibilities and new teams in Florida. But how many teams in California? You want to count them with me? Can we do it? Can we do it? You think we can do it?
Instead of name the guy, we go name the team.
Well, it'd be name the team. I mean, how many do you think you can do off the top of your head in California to compare it to what's happening in Florida or anywhere else?
All right, California. Let's start with the Major League Soccer. We got San Diego, San Jose, LAFC, LA Galaxy. That's 4.
That's
and then
4.
We go to the USL Championship. We got Sacramento. Is there any other USL Championship in California?
Well, Loyal is dead, so no, I don't think that does it.
Bay.
Yeah, Orange County. That's 6 right there. That's a USL Championship team. Monterey Bay is a championship team or League One team. Monterey Bay, quick.
I think that's USL 1.
Oh, you're guessing. You don't guess, Rob. Check. Be better than that. Be better than that. Okay. Whatever, they're a pro team, right? We're talking Oakland. Oakland's a championship team. I think we're up to 8 already, right? Including Monterey Bay. So, and we're missing, who else are we missing? We're missing
AV Alta.
AV Alta, that's 9. So we got AV Alta. Who else are we missing? Are we missing anybody else? I mean, we're working on Fresno. We're working on a couple of other places.
Riverside.
We're working on Riverside. That's not a thing yet. Who else? I think that's it. Is 9 the number? Are we pretty close there? I think we might be close.
That's a big number.
It's a big number. All right, so we got 9. So let's look at Florida. These are the men's teams in Florida, the professional men's outfits that are currently playing. Okay, remember this is currently playing. We've got Rowdies, Orlando, FC Naples, and the 2 Miami teams, Miami FC and Inter Miami. Right? I'm not missing anybody that is currently playing men's outdoor professional soccer. Then we have these are the what are they? The women's teams? I'm trying to remember how I did this. Or this is potential teams coming. I guess these are in process men's teams. So these are expansion teams that haven't yet started. So we've got Fort Lauderdale United, Sarasota, Sporting Jacks, and Armada. Armada is going to be an MLS Next Pro team. Sporting Jacks is going to be in USL. These are the women's teams. And by the way, we didn't do the women's teams in California. We should be doing the women's team in California too.
There's a lot of them there.
Bay FC, San Diego Wave, Angel City. We're up to like 12 professional teams. Who else is out there in California? Rob, do you have any more off the top of your head? It's a quiz.
We're getting quiz. I'm failing the quiz.
You're failing the quiz. All right. Well, there's no USL Super League teams in California at the moment, but I do believe Oakland Soul, which is a W League team, will be joining the Super League at some point. That's connected to Oakland roots. But I'm pretty sure we've got all 3 of the women's professional soccer teams in California. Now, again, these are the women's professional soccer teams in Florida. Orlando Pride, Tampa Bay Sun, Fort Lauderdale's got a team, right? And Sporting Jacks also has a USL team. And then a Super League team. And I think that's it. I think that's all I got. I might have missed expansion. Do we have any other expansion teams for the women's game in Florida, Rob? You mentioned maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe I'm blowing you blew this up. Talking Florida. What do we got for what's coming in Florida?
Coming in Florida, a few teams in Jacksonville. There's going to be actually the part of the reason that sparked this topic was there's a little bit of a soccer war going on in Jacksonville because there's going to be a USL team and an MLS Next Pro team in Jacksonville. You got the rebirth of the Armada, as well as Sporting Jacks coming to USL on both the men's and the women's side. And earlier in the week, we talked about Tampa Bay, the Rowdies, one of the longest storied American soccer teams, getting bought out. But there's also a women's team, the Sun, that's already playing there, but under different ownership. And then there's also news coming down the pike of not only Sarasota or Pensacola. Pensacola's coming down the pike, and then Space Coast, which is Brevard County, which is just east of Orlando on the coast. I guess I should have realized that they call that the Space Coast, but if they actually there's a youth team there, and if they actually keep that for the pro team, what do you think of Space Coast FC as the name of a professional soccer club?
It's where Cape Canaveral is. That's why it's called Space Coast, right?
Oh yeah, I understand why, but
No, I'm just Rob, I'm just letting people know. I mean, maybe people understood that. I mean, I'm not trying to mansplain you. I'm just kind of putting it out there. Why is it called Space Coast? That's such a weird name.
That's where spaceships are.
It exists in space. That's why it's called Space Coast, I think, is probably what it. I'm okay with that. Yeah, Space Coast FC. I don't think FC, again, I have an issue with FC, but Space Coast something for sure would be great. And obviously there are lots of ways you can go with the imaging around a Space Coast team, as is always the case with these potential clubs, Rob. What we care about is that there's a legitimate plan to go from an idea to an actual club, and then that actual club will have some stability underneath it so it can stand the test of time and become part of the landscape and dot the map in a way that doesn't require us to maybe erase it off the map one day. That's all I would say about this. I don't know enough about Brevard County, about the Space Coast. My dad lives near Pensacola, but I can't tell you what the Pensacola soccer scene is like. That's obviously more on over there towards Alabama. What some people lovingly call the Redneck Riviera, Rob, is where Pensacola is.
That's funny.
What I read about Pensacola is it comes down to, can they find space? Like, can they find room to build a stadium? And again, we've already reported on USL and Justin Papadakis as their chief real estate officer, engaging in conversations with 70 different towns and cities about the potential of professional soccer, and this largely centering around the idea of building a stadium. Now, we have not taken issue, but certainly asked questions about that approach, right? The team in a box, or sort of, getting all these things together, like in Pensacola, where the reports are that the USL is spending $200,000 to do the research, to do the report, to take a look at this, to do the work necessary to see if a team can work in Pensacola, and maybe even to identify that stadium site. Is that the right way to go? It's probably better, though, especially when you're putting the stadium out ahead of this, than saying, hey, just start a team and play in that high school building over there, and we'll figure this out one day. And then 3 years, 4 years, 5 years in, the owner goes, no, I'm hemorrhaging money, I'm out. And the club disappears. We don't need that anymore.
What is in Pensacola to prove this a true statement? So the mayor of Pensacola, DC Reeves, says our city has proven that it supports professional sports and expect our community would welcome a new league and club to our town. What's going on in Pensacola that has proven that professional sports can be sustained there?
Well, they got a team, minor league baseball. This is always about minor league baseball, Rob. You just have you should immediately think, well, he must be talking about minor league baseball.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they have a minor league baseball team called the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. Thanks to Ryan, he's got the name right there on the tip of his tongue. The Blue Wahoos, which I don't know. That's not a name you forget. Is that a bird? A blue wahoo? It must be something like that. All right. So, have they proven that they can support pro sports with the Blue Wahoos? I'll leave that up to you. I don't know. I mean, it's an oceanside town. There are lots of things to do there. That's why sometimes it makes you wonder if pro sports really can work, especially when it's more of a, I don't say a vacation destination, but that's certainly a major part of their industry, right? Is tourism. And if you are that kind of town, does a sports team that is representing Pensacola work?
That's a good point. Has anyone visited Florida in the middle of the summer? A lot of places are kind of a ghost town, especially these coastal places. People, the snowbirds are the one of the biggest populations that inhabit these towns on the coast. And when do we play USL soccer? In the summer. And so we'd have to study maybe a little bit closer, see how Naples did with its. I know they did well at the beginning of the season. Have to check back in to see if they had any dip or shoehorn sort of attendance during the hotter months, because it should be noted, and we haven't gotten to it yet, about the whole climate report regarding soccer in the United States and across the world. And Florida, one of the hottest places in the country, adding these teams playing through the summer. What kind of accommodations will be taken for it? I mean, was everything going to happen at night? Training, games, all that stuff? Because
while we talk about the possibility that Major League Soccer might flip their schedule over, USL has not said anything about doing that or committed to that idea. I mean, they don't have to follow MLS on that front if they choose not to, but it'll be interesting. I will note that Pensacola, while the town itself is not overly big in terms of population, 50-something thousand, and military town. That's a good point from Chris, because my dad, again, is ex-military, works for a contractor. That's why he lives in Pensacola. The metropolitan area of Pensacola is 500,000 people. So it's not that there aren't people who live there that might support a team. I think it's just about the marketing of it. It's about catching, just like any of these other cities. And really, we don't have to look too deeply into that. Like, I think we get lost if we're like, well, do they have the right population? And people have come at us in the comments in various places. Why are you guys talking about population? I do think you kind of need a base. Like, you can't have a town of 20,000 people and build a 15,000 seat stadium. Like, obviously you have to have some sort of matching there, but any town that has a reasonable population, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 in a metropolitan area in Pensacola, should be able to support these teams if you market it correctly, if you are doing all the things necessary to make the team work on your end as the club. You can't just start the team and put them on the field and expect people to show up. That has been proven time and time again.
Yeah, and we might get to the retort about European teams that are in tiny towns that have done really well. And yes, that is true, but they didn't start off with that big stadium there. They probably started with something a little bit more modest, and they, with success and time, grew into those small towns with the big stadiums. And a kind of funny thought for the Space Coast teams, maybe it could be a fun or a bad nickname, call them the Naughts, like they're astronauts, but it's kind of a double entendre because they're nothings. So maybe not a good nickname to call yourself.
Did you just create something? You had an idea, you presented the idea, and then you undermined your own idea all within about 30 seconds there?
Yeah, I might have done that. Some things sound good inside your head, but then once you put them out into the world, vocalize them, they might not be a good conversation. And like your squint, I know when I'm on a bad idea, I get a squint from you.
I'm actually not even against the whole knots thing, right? I'm not against it. Like
I'm tying myself into knots about this nickname.
As far as nicknames for professional soccer teams go, Knots is not the worst one, and I could see ownership happening on the Space Coast of that name. But anyway, let's move forward. Let's charge forward, Ruck.
So charging forward, are we still talking about Florida? Can they usurp California as the soccer professional soccer capital?
No, because there's probably 6 or 7 or 8 other places in California that could support a professional soccer team if somebody wants to do it. I mean, again, we're going to see if Fresno gets off the ground. We're going to see if Riverside gets off the ground. We're going to see if who am I missing? I'm probably missing. I just saw yesterday Santa Rosa, California is considering possibly looking into professional soccer. Is it going to happen? No, we're not. That's not a guarantee yet. But Santa Rosa, not too far away from Napa. Napa has one of those Michael Hitchcock's teams that plays short season. Maybe one day they could go pro. There are lots of places like that, smaller towns that still have reasonable populations and could conceivably support professional soccer. I think California is going to retain the crown. It's a big place.
And of course, we're going to keep in mind that a lot of these announcements, like the Pensacola one, is USL essentially calling dibs on being able to negotiate and explore these possibilities before any other league. They're just kind of having it. They're securing communication rights almost in a way, rather than actually saying this is happening. Always important to keep that verbiage in mind, especially with this myriad of press releases coming out from USL. They are not all created equal. Some have stadiums and are ready to rock in a year or two. Some of them are an idea that they're talking about. Thank you for chiming in on this, on the Florida topic. And thank you for some of the support in the comments, giving me a little bit of slack on my bad jokes. Apparently that was a Midwestern take that I did there, showing some Midwestern colors.
You have a lot of Midwestern characteristics, Rob. You know this already. We're not telling you something you don't already know. So,
well, I appreciate the support nonetheless.
Nobody's saying it's bad to be from the Midwest. Nobody's saying it's bad to be like Rob Kerr. That's nobody's saying that. Just make sure that we're nobody's being mean, right? We're just saying you're very Midwestern. It's a fact.
Yeah, and even my English time was in the very middle of the country, so I was an English Midwesterner as well. I can't help. I was from the East Midlands, and that is like as quaint and laid back as it comes over there in the UK.